Hi guys. On today's video, I want to tell you about a story of one of my nature walks from a couple weeks ago. This particular nature walk and the wisdom I gained through it completely changed the way I think about change and endings in my life. So I'll just back up for a moment, give you a little bit of backstory. So earlier in the day, I was struggling with some things, and not just that day, but for a couple days, and I asked for guidance. And then later in the evening, I felt guided to go for a walk. And there's this place that I love to walk through. It's a little walkway. And I have walked through this particular space for years because it felt like stepping into a tiny, like a little forest. The trees created this beautiful canopy, and every walk through there brought a sense of peace and connection. One day I went through there and had noticed the city had cut down a bunch of trees. 24 of those beautiful trees, to be exact. And the space felt different, empty, almost unfamiliar. And I stayed away from this space for a long time because of that. And the other day, I felt guided to walk through there again. And of course, in the beginning, I felt that that sadness, because I had loved this space so much and it had changed so much. But I continued to walk through. And as I was walking, something shifted. Instead of only noticing what was gone, I began looking at what remained. The tree stumps. I don't know if it was just the glow from the evening, the lights around the area, the moon, what it was, but the tree stumps were glowing. They had this glow to them. It looked very magical. And I started noticing that every single one was different as I was walking. And so I started to snap a few pictures. And I'm posting some of those pictures here on this video. But I noticed like they were all so different. Some were smooth, some were wide, some were narrow, some were more weathered. Each one held the story of a life that had once stood tall. And I found myself thinking, there's still beauty here. They are still beautiful. Not in the same way the trees were as they stood tall, but beautiful in a different way. It made me wonder, how often do we do this in our own lives? We focus so much on what has ended, the relationship, the career, the dream, or a particular season of life. We look at what's been cut away, what's no longer there, and assume the beauty has disappeared as well. But what if it hasn't? What if beauty simply changes form? Maybe there's wisdom in what remains. Maybe there's strength we couldn't see before. And maybe there is a story still unfolding. The tree stumps reminded me that endings aren't always the end of the story. Sometimes they're simply evidence that something once lived, grew, weathered storms, and left its mark. And just like the forest, the trees, we continue to change. We lose things, we outgrow things. Life reshapes us. And yet our story isn't over. Sometimes we just need to slow down long enough to notice the beauty that's still there. So the next time life feels different than you had hoped, things change, there are endings, I invite you to pause. Look again. You might just discover that what remains has something beautiful to teach you. The story isn't over yet. Thank you for spending this time with me. Until next time, take care.